Um, this is about some news I'm seeing on the internet. It's about the change in the industry. Now, I got into I wanted to do a podcast because I was influenced by the likes of Joe Rogan, Mike Tyson, Hot Boxing, Joey Diaz, the Church of What's Happening Now. Go and check them out if you haven't seen them. But I wanted to talk about the change that's happened with Mike Tyson's Hot Boxing one. Now, what it looks like to me is we've got another situation. Now, I love Mike Tyson. Like, who doesn't like Mike Tyson? He's not the absolute. He's not the. Now, Mike Tyson's not the crazy lunatic that he was made out to be. If you watch his podcast, he's a really nice guy. Now, what looks like has happened is people have seen a success in his podcast and they have moved in on trying to take over it and replan it. And Eben Britton is the guy who started the podcast with Mike Tyson. Now, I was never too fussed on him to begin with, because I felt I was worried for Mike that what was happening to Mike now was happening then. But that's not the case. By the looks of it, you've got, it's happened with Mike before with Don King. Now, if any of you have been living in a cave somewhere, Don King stitched Mike Tyson up for millions when he had his boxing career. Now, Don King was his promoter, but he was a crook. Like, he was a proper crook. If you look into it, he was a gangster. Now, what's basically happened is people have swept in, pulled Mike away from Eben, whatever his name is, Eben Britton, and they've paired him up at the minute with Jeremy Piven, from The Entourage. I haven't watched The Entourage, but I just watched the podcast, and it just looks fucking terrible. It just looks forced. That Jeremy Piven is just sitting there like he fucking owns the place. And it just doesn't look natural like it did before. Which is a shame. I enjoyed watching them. So I don't know the full effect of what has gone on there, but I'm going to play a clip now of what Eben Britton has actually come out with. And I feel sorry for the guy, because he helped start that podcast with Mike Tyson. It turns out that, like, what my fear was at the start when I first saw the podcast, I was worried for Mike Tyson that because I didn't know that Eben was. I was worried that he might have been using Mike to get a bit more fame. But it seems to be that they were good friends, and now Eben has been pushed out by these directors, and it just looks like Mike is just being used again. Now, you know, it's no secret Mike Tyson is easily manipulated by some fucking smooth talking prick in a suit. So that's what looks like has happened, and it's quite sad, to be honest with you. Like Eben has been saying he can't even get onto the show at all anymore, and he was one of the guys who helped create it. Now, you know, I feel a bit gutted that Mike would just let that happen. So we'll play a bit of a clip of that now. So this is what Eben Britton has to say.
Well, it's a good question. And for the record, so we're absolutely clear about what's going on, I absolutely love Mike. Mike is my soul brother. The relationship we have cultivated over the last couple years is really unlike any relationship in my entire life that I've ever had. We've shared some deeply in like spiritual awakening. And there's a new production crew. There's a new production crew.
This is going on now. He's basically spilling the beans on what's going on. With these new Don King esque leeches who've swept in and completely disrupted it, and they're not doing it because they fucking enjoy the show. They're doing it because they're gonna fucking screw Mike Tyson out of a small fortune. They've told him they're gonna fucking make him more money, but nobody does anything for free.
And the truth of the matter is, here we are, and things are changing. There's a new production crew involved with hotboxing. And so you know where I'm coming from. I have offered olive branch after olive branch to make this thing work, to figure out how I can come back, because honestly, I was one of the key creators of hotboxing, and I want to see it through. I want to see it succeed. But at the end of the day, I'm going to try to say this without burning any bridges, because that doesn't do anyone any good, but the business is getting in the way. And it has nothing to do with Mike, but it has to do with other people involved in the situation.
Now he starts talking about spiritual fucking meaning and shit like that, but I'm gonna have a bit coming up on spiritual awakenings on a podcast, but there's too much to go into now.
To get it.
What is going on is Mike Tyson's being swindled again. He's been sweet-talked by some fucking fancy prick in a suit who's told him, I'm gonna make you more money. Basically cut his sidekick, who helped to set it all up, out of the picture, and got this Jeremy fucking Piven, whoever the fuck he is. I mean, it's uncomfortable to watch because he's sitting on the sofa with his fucking feet up, thinking he's the fucking business, thinking he's the man. He's obviously good pals with whoever this fucking, these directors and that who have taken over hotboxing. This is just to show you this new guy, Jeremy Piven, how much he thinks he's the fucking man on the half of him. Yeah. It'll be interesting to hear what Mike Tyson has got to say about it, to be honest with you. But I think Mike Tyson will only admit he's been swindled when it's gone too far. So it is quite uncomfortable to watch, seeing this new guy who was on there, just thinking, I don't know. There seems to be a change in podcasts. There seems to be people are noticing that obviously these bigger podcasts, these the ones that are generating massive views, these fucking, I don't want to call them elitists, but they're fucking rushing in and they're trying to take control over them, because TV isn't the thing anymore. People aren't tuning in and listening to the news, because there's a lot of lies being told on the news, and it's been proven. There's no agendas being pushed in podcasts, whereas through the media, it's controlled by, somebody who's pushing a certain agenda. So what seems to be happening is they're rushing in and they're trying to take control. Now, with Joe Rogan, I mean, you can say as much as you want, like he said, he is in complete control. But when somebody pays $100 million for a podcast, they've got a good say in something that he's going to back down to if they push it hard enough. I just don't like where it's there's always been this element of freedom where you can sort of say what you want. We've seen that slowly getting squeezed out with the likes of Alex Jones. Alex Jones, they've cut him out. Now I can't understand this. We're gonna cut you off because certain amount of people aren't enjoying what you. I'm not being funny. If you're not enjoying what the podcast is about, fucking turn it off. Nobody's asking you to sit there and fucking listen to it. There's loads of shit I don't enjoy, but I don't fucking get onto the producers and start kicking up a fuss. If you don't like what it is, turn it fucking off. But there's a lot of freedoms being taken away. A lot of people stepping in to try and take control over certain podcasts. Like, they'll come in and they'll act like they're your friend to begin with, but once that deal is signed, you're fucking in their pockets then. One person I know who's got a podcast who I would like to think he would never fucking do it is Joey Diaz. Now, he's somebody that is so fucking out there. The stuff he says, the stuff he does, to be honest with you, I don't think anybody'd go near him because they wouldn't want to, they don't know what he's going to come out with next. But it's just such a shame to see these things happening to these big podcasts that we enjoy watching. They're slowly being taken over. But I just wanted to bring more attention to it, really, because there's not many people talking about it that I've heard of anyway. I've just seen a few things coming up. I've noticed a few changes. Mike Tyson's new podcast, it just hasn't got the same you can see that they're trying to produce it. It hasn't got a natural feel to it anymore, where you just sit around the table, they're smoking a few fucking joints, they're having a chat, they're talking about the toad. It just, I don't know. They've tried to make it look like a TV show, and that's not what podcasts are. But this is what these people are trying to do now, is they've lost control over TV, they've lost control over media, and now they're fucking moving in on podcasts. And it shouldn't be happening. It shouldn't be fucking happening. So, right, if anybody's got anything to add to it, drop it in the comments. And or if anybody's got any more information, because, you know, I don't know it all, but I can only comment on the stuff I'm seeing. So if anybody's got any other information, drop it in the comments and I'll have a chat about that. I'll look into it. But yeah, it's a shame. Thank you guys. What's happening?